No one expected it, but it happened again. The Golden State Warriors, when many already believed they were closing the chapter on their golden era, took a surprising, silent, and calculated step. The Californian franchise not only refused to accept decline as an inevitable fate, but also began to engineer a bold renewal, almost as if sculpting the outlines of a new dynasty before the eyes of the world. What seemed to be the end of an era in reality turned into a new beginning, grounded in a balance between experience and youth, tradition and innovation. What draws attention in this process is not only the natural reorganization of an aging roster, but the depth of vision behind every move. The Warriors are not just swapping pieces. They are building a new empire, guided by a philosophy that values the collective above the individual and relies on patience as a strategic weapon. Reinvention is part of the team's identity, which over the years has already proven capable of changing its style of play without ever losing its essence. In this context, a name begins to spark attention beyond the courts: Ren Abando. His memorable performance at the Basketball World Cup placed him under the spotlight, not only as another talented youngster, but as someone with the potential to redefine Golden State's offensive system. Abando is not a predictable athlete. His explosiveness, combined with his improvisational ability, fits perfectly into the dynamic style that Steve Kerr has always defended. Players like him do not appear every day. He is fast, creative, versatile, able to play both as a shooting guard and as a pure forward. A rare piece, tailored for a system that demands intelligence, constant movement, and quick decision. And there is an even more important detail. Abando carries with him the weight and strength of an entire community, the Filipinos, who treat basketball like a religion. The connection between him and his country is not only sporting, but cultural, emotional, and symbolic. In the Bay Area, where Golden State already has one of the most passionate fan bases in the NBA, this direct bridge to Asia can multiply the franchise's impact far beyond the court. It's not just about winning games. It's about expanding horizons, opening markets, and winning new hearts. The plan, however, goes beyond Abando. The Warriors' eyes are fixed on another promising talent who draws attention wherever he goes: Kai Sotto. Standing 2.21 meters tall, the Filipino center is not only physically imposing, but also carries with him the promise of transforming Golden State's paint into forbidden territory for opponents. Unlike many young players who arrive raw in the NBA, Sotto has already experienced international leagues, such as Australia's NBL, learning how to deal with pressure, physical demands, and the intensity of top-level competition. His presence means something the Warriors had been seeking for years: defensive consistency at the heart of the defense. With his wingspan, shot-contesting ability, and rim protection, he can become the anchor the system has long lacked. But Sotto is not just about defense. His evolving offensive game, especially his mid-range shooting, expands tactical spacing options, making him even more valuable. The possibility of aligning a center with these characteristics alongside shooters like Curry opens a whole new strategic range for Kerr. Behind this movement lies meticulous planning. The Warriors are not just recruiting promising youngsters. They are orchestrating a transition of power that unites the brilliance of veterans with the hunger of new generations. The idea is not to replace icons such as Curry and Draymond Green, but to create a succession line in which the experience and legacy of the leaders serve as a guide for the newcomers. The veterans, more than stars, assume the role of mentors, transmitting values, teaching behaviors, and shaping competitive character. And this integration is not simple. It demands humility from the younger ones and wisdom from the more experienced. Because the Warriors, more than any other franchise, have always believed in the collective game. It does not matter how brilliant an individual talent may be. Within that culture, it is the extra pass, the correct movement, and the defensive discipline that define the true value of a player. Abando and Sotto will have to learn that being a Warrior means carrying an identity, not just wearing a jersey. Steve Kerr, as always, will be the conductor of this symphony. His role goes far beyond being a coach. He is a strategist, educator, architect, and psychologist. He has already proven in the past that he can transform average players into key pieces, and that he knows how to integrate talent without losing the team's essence. Now, he will face perhaps one of the greatest challenges of his career, shaping a new generation while keeping the team competitive in an unforgiving schedule. The future, however, does not scare the Warriors. On the contrary, it is seen as an opportunity. The patience that guides every decision is proof of that. Instead of relying solely on flashy short-term signings, the franchise prefers to mold its youngsters step by step. It knows that time is an ally, not an enemy, that sustainable results are born of careful construction, not of a rush for quick answers. Meanwhile, off the court, the impact is already visible. The Asian market is responding with enthusiasm. Social networks in the Philippines explode with every piece of news about Abando or Sotto. Jersey sales increase. Sponsors begin to look at San Francisco with even more interest. Golden State is not just strengthening its roster, it is transforming the franchise into a global brand, desired and relevant in every corner of the planet. But with great visibility also comes pressure. The youngsters will have no time to hide. From their very first minutes on court, every move will be watched, every mistake will be criticized, every success will be compared to the idols of the past. They know this, and that is why they train as if every session were a final, understanding that greatness is not inherited. It is built brick by brick. Inside the franchise, the message is clear. The present and the future must walk together. It is not enough to think only about immediate victories, because the price of that could be stagnation a few years down the road. That is why every step taken has a double purpose: to keep the team competitive now, and to prepare the foundation so that the cycle of achievements does not end with the retirement of its icons. This long-term vision is what sets apart organizations that shine for a decade from those that fade away in just a few years. Ren Abando, for example, was not chosen by chance. His unpredictability on the court creates imbalances that can transform the dynamics of the game. Players like him are hidden weapons, capable of breaking through rigid defensive systems and accelerating the pace when the opponent feels comfortable. He is not just fast, he is cunning. He knows how to read the spaces, drive at the right moment, and create plays that surprise even his teammates. This type of energy, when well integrated, can be a game-changer in decisive series. Kai Sotto, on the other hand, represents stability. While Abando is the spark, Sotto is the wall. His very presence in the paint already alters the behavior of rivals, forcing them to rethink their offensive strategies. His blocks are not just statistics, but psychological messages. This is not free territory. And when he adds mid-range shots to his offensive arsenal, he becomes even more dangerous. What was once only a rim protector becomes a spacing threat as well, allowing the Warriors' shooters to operate with almost absolute freedom. This complementarity between the two young players shows how detailed the Warriors' plan really is. They are not just gathering random talent. They are fitting together pieces that communicate with each other, that complement each other in styles, roles, and impact within the game. It is like assembling a strategic puzzle, where every detail makes a difference. And in this mosaic, the veterans remain the guiding thread. Stephen Curry, for example, is much more than a historic scorer. He is a living example of discipline, hard work, and humility. His daily routine, marked by extra training, obsessive dedication, and absolute focus, serves as a silent guide for the young players. When Abando sees Curry arriving at the gym before everyone else, he understands that talent alone is not enough. Continuous effort is required. Respecting the process is essential. Draymond Green, meanwhile, takes on a different but equally essential role. He is the voice that echoes in the locker room, the leader who is not afraid to confront, demand, and guide. For Kai Sotto, who is learning to impose himself physically and psychologically, being around Draymond is a daily school. The veteran teaches that it is not enough to be tall. One must also be great in posture, attitude, and mentality. It is this type of invisible learning that shapes champions. The coaching staff, under the leadership of Steve Kerr, becomes the gear that connects all these forces. Kerr understands that for this integration to work, more than sophisticated tactics are required. It is necessary to create an environment where young players feel challenged but also protected. A space where mistakes are not treated as failures but as growth steps. It is this culture that allows players to flourish without fear, transforming potential into real impact. Meanwhile, off the court, the domino effect continues at full speed. Social media buzzes with every appearance of the new talents. The enthusiasm of Filipino fans spreads like wildfire, generating global trends. Multinational companies recognize the opportunity to associate their brands with this new era of the Warriors and begin moving millions in sponsorship contracts. What begins as a sporting gamble becomes a cultural and commercial phenomenon. But none of this overshadows the essence. At Golden State, basketball comes first. The executives know that all the international projection, all the brand expansion, and all the explosion of engagement only have value if the team keeps winning inside the four lines. And for that, there are no shortcuts. It is hours of training, meticulous tactical adjustments, psychological support, physical control, and a culture that demands excellence every day. This work is already beginning to bear fruit. In internal practices, Abando shows clear improvement in ball control under pressure. His game reading improves, his shots in motion become more consistent, and his adaptability impresses even the veterans. Sotto, in turn, has been gaining confidence in the pick and roll, improving speed in defensive switches, and showing greater maturity in offensive decisions. Little by little, they are no longer just promises, but are becoming real contributors within the rotation. And at this point, the impact begins to be felt on the team. Rotations become more versatile, lineups more unpredictable. Kerr can opt for light and fast formations, ideal for wearing down defenses, or heavy and physical lineups, perfect for tough playoff series. The presence of Sotto, for example, makes previously unthinkable experiments possible, such as using two centers simultaneously. This expands the team's strategic arsenal, which can be crucial in knockout battles where every detail defines the winner. For the fans, all this is a mix of hope and nostalgia. Older supporters still remember the dominant era, the electrifying finals, and the historic conquests. But instead of seeing this new phase as a break, they begin to see it as continuity. It is not about forgetting the past, but about turning it into inspiration for the future. Because in San Francisco, the key word is legacy. The schedule, however, gives no respite. The NBA is relentless, demanding, full of surprises. An injury can change the course of a season. A new rival talent can overshadow promises. And a losing streak can generate doubts. That is why every decision made by the Warriors carries so much weight. They know they are not just building a team for today, but for the coming years. And when one looks at this project as a whole, it becomes clear that it is not a simple renewal plan. It is a vision that blends strategy, patience, talent, and culture. A vision that understands that the game does not end at the final buzzer, but continues in training, in conversations, in the invisible lessons passed from veterans to rookies. A vision that projects Golden State not only as an NBA team, but as a global symbol of reinvention and greatness. The future has already begun, and it is being drawn in every step of Ren Abando, in every block of Kai Sotto, in every piece of guidance from Curry, and in every shout from Draymond. What is at stake is not just a season, it is the birth of a new legacy. What impresses most about Golden State's strategy is the way they turn every move into part of a greater whole. There is no unnecessary rush, no improvisation without calculation. Every player added to the roster fits into a logic that blends present and future. The arrival of Ren Abando and Kai Sotto is just the visible tip of a deeper process that involves not only technical development, but also the strengthening of collective identity. The truth is that NBA basketball has evolved brutally in recent years. The competition is fiercer, talent more dispersed, and margins for error smaller. In this scenario, survival is not enough. One must always stay a step ahead. Golden State knows this better than anyone because they have lived both faces. the meteoric rise with the Splash Brothers, and the painful fall after injuries and unexpected defeats. It is precisely this experience that now guides the reinvention plan. The young players who arrive don't just have the mission to play well, they must learn to uphold a culture. That's why Kerr and his coaching staff insist so much on the invisible details. The intensity in practice, the communication on the court, the posture before the media, the emotional control in decisive games, all of this is part of what makes a warrior. And every day, Abando and Sotto show that they understand the responsibility of wearing this jersey. But it's not just about two players. There is a silent movement within the franchise to identify new names who can shape this transition. Youngsters who bring not only specific skills, but also the right mentality to fit into the system. Golden State is not seeking immediate superstars. It seeks pieces that, together, can keep the machine running. Because the philosophy has always been clear. No one is bigger than the game. And if the future looks promising, the present is still challenging. Curry remains the heart of the team, but he is no longer the kid who revolutionized the game on his own. His experience now combines with the need to share responsibilities. Klay Thompson, after so many battles against injuries, must pace his energy and accept a role adapted to the new reality. Draymond, as explosive as he is, also knows his leadership today goes far beyond suffocating defense and locker room shouts. He is a mentor, a guide, a mirror. These veterans form the bridge between eras. They know their time as protagonists is shortening, but they understand the importance of preparing those who will come after. It's this balance between legacy and renewal that makes the Warriors so fascinating at this moment. Meanwhile, the off-court impact cannot be ignored. The NBA has long understood it is not just an American championship, but a global spectacle. More and more, the league seeks to strengthen its presence in international markets. And in this sense, having two young Filipinos under the spotlight of one of the biggest franchises is a gigantic strategic move. In the Philippines, every appearance of Abando or Sotto sparks waves of collective emotion. Children begin to dream of wearing an NBA jersey. Entire families gather to follow broadcasts deep into the night. That passion spills over into the Bay Area, where the Filipino community is large and vibrant. The result is a perfect cycle. More engaged fans, stronger marketing, more interested sponsors, a more valuable franchise. Behind this cultural impact lies the financial dimension. The growth of international engagement means more advertising contracts, more official merchandise sales, more broadcast deals. Golden State positions itself not only as a winning team, but as a global brand in expansion. And it is at this point that the genius of the strategy becomes clear, winning on and off the court, creating a sustainable cycle of success. However, no one within the organization gets carried away only by the external shine. Kerr and his staff know the foundation of everything is still pure basketball. Millions of followers mean nothing if the team is not competitive. That's why every detail of the integration process is treated with maximum seriousness. Individual workouts, video analysis, physical monitoring, sports psychology sessions. Nothing is neglected. And little by little, the fruits begin to appear in official games. In some matches, Abando already shows flashes of boldness that make the crowd rise from their seats. In others, Sotto demonstrates he can be that rim protector who intimidates even the most established big men. The numbers are not spectacular yet, but the emotional impact is gigantic. The fans feel something new is being born, and that feeling, in a franchise used to glory, is worth as much as immediate victories. But the future holds trials. There will be nights when the spark fades, when mistakes speak louder, when media pressure tries to suffocate the young player's confidence. It will be in those moments that the Warriors' culture will show its strength. Because here, mistakes are not seen as a sentence, but as a lesson. Failure does not mean the end, but part of the process. And that is what separates an ordinary team from a legendary organization. The coming years will tell how far this project can go. Perhaps Abando becomes the offensive engine everyone imagines. Perhaps Sotto establishes himself as one of the league's great defenders. Perhaps other talents emerge around them and complete the puzzle. But one thing is already certain. The Warriors are not just dreaming, they are building, brick by brick, practice after practice, game after game. What is seen today in San Francisco is not an end. It is a new beginning, a cycle closing to give way to another, a new generation that did not come to erase the past, but to carry the torch forward. And so, before the world's eyes, the Golden State Warriors show that this is not just a team, but a story in constant reinvention. The past has already proven what this franchise is capable of achieving, and the present is writing the first lines of a future that promises to be as brilliant as yesterday's glories. The flame of the dynasty has not gone out. It has simply found new hands to carry it. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe this new generation can sustain the greatness of the Warriors and open a new cycle of titles? If you also feel we are witnessing a historic moment, leave your like down below, because it really strengthens our work and shows that you are with us on this journey. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. That way, you won't miss any analysis, any news, or any exclusive behind the scenes I bring about what happens on and off the NBA courts. The Warriors' future has already begun, and I want you following every step of this transformation with us. See you in the next video.